I'm doing. I'm like.
While visiting the San Diego area, we stopped to visit a truly remarkable horsewoman, Shawna Karrasch.
What we got here.
Well, it is so nice to see my buddy Shawna again and hear her happy laugh. You got the greatest laugh in the world, you know that?
Thank you. No.
Yes, yes. Before we go any further, let's give our props to this place we're at. It's absolutely gorgeous. What is the name of this facility?
It's called Lucky Jack Farm. Marcy is my trainer, and she works out of here, and it's just a small group of ladies. It's a private facility that was built by a woman who rides with Marcy and decided to build her own place. So wow. I get the blessing of being able to be here every day. This is the office, you know, it's crazy.
Well, let's go back, because not everybody knows your history, and you have such a unique history as an animal behaviorist, I suppose, is one way to describe Shawna. How did you come to be involved with horses? It started with a different species.
It did, and it's just wild. In the midst of that career, if you would have said I'd be with horses, I'd be like, you're crazy. But I worked at SeaWorld for 10 years. So I trained the marine mammals. That means the dolphins, killer whales, sea lions, walruses, otters. I trained them to do the shows, and I did the shows with them. So that means, yep, I flew off the nose.
You were in the water?
Yes, did the whole thing. So sometimes when people go, I think I recognize you, I always go, there you go.
Now I see her.
But so after being there for a number of years, Elizabeth Bush Burke of Anheuser-Busch, who owns SeaWorld, gave some of us trainers tickets to a Grand Prix. And so we all went, you know, it was in Del Mar here, and I saw that and I said, I want to do this. Now, I didn't know what posting was, you know, I had no idea what goes into it, but I just saw them just jumping the jumps so easily, and it just looked so fun. So I looked into how horses were trained and realized it was nothing like what we used at SeaWorld. It was just really different. So I thought, well, fine, I want to learn how horses are done. And then after a bit, kind of started realizing, wait, there's this whole other side that people aren't tapping into. You know, things are going great, but there's more that you can bring to the picture.
How did you train the sea mammals? How did you reinforce the behaviors?
Basically, it's positive reinforcement, and it's food as the positive reinforcement. Okay. And that's because it's primary. It's one of the things they need to survive. So it's value, and this is the same with horses. They need food to survive too. So the value as a motivator is really unriveled by anything we have.
There's no vagueness about food. Food is always good. You can train me with food. But people weren't really doing much of that with horses, I guess, when you started out.
Yeah, and I have to kind of admit too, with the positive reinforcement, it's a systematic approach to it. You know, people a lot of times like, oh, I can't feed my horse treats because they get mouthy, they start mugging, and that's because it's not systematically done. It's just given to them kind of willy-nilly, you know, whatever they're doing. So by systematically applying the positive reinforcement, you're building up to a work ethic with the horses. So they learn, if I do something, I may earn a reinforcement. And then you also, you kind of systematically fade away the tools you use to get there. And that's just part of their repertoire, you know.
So as you developed this, you found a way to get away from reinforcing every single good behavior. How did you do that?
I think it's a really important training tool when you're teaching it, because a lot of times what we can bring to the equation can be startling or nerve-wracking to the horses, and it's not always embraced. But when you're applying it with the positive reinforcement, they have a tend to embrace it and think, I want to figure out how to get it done. And as they start to do it, and they know how to do it, and they know what the signal is, it's pure association that, like my horses, who may have learned canter to parts with, you know, click and a treat and the whole thing, now they just know them. They'll do them for anybody, anytime. They just know how to do it. It's just part of their repertoire now. So as it becomes part of their repertoire, you kind of move off to reinforcing something else. I randomly will still reinforce a good canter to part, but it's not an entitlement. You know, they just know that
they don't come to expect it every time.
Yes.
So originally you started out with giving them a treat. Then did you use clicker training as well, didn't you? Or some sort of a sound to bridge it?
And that's all part of the same thing. It's part of the same equation. A lot of times the clicker training has made its way to horses from the dogs. So it's a little bit of a different application, I think. I'm very used to a performance-oriented situation, whether it's clipping your horse or trailer loading or jumping a jump or sliding stops. You know, to me, I think of it as a performance-oriented thing, and I want to get it to a high caliber. So yep, I use a clicker. And you can, I use a verbal bridge signal, but I find the clicker is very distinct and different. So it grabs their attention and it means one thing. I find it's a great tool, but I'll use a whistle as well. And then I'll introduce the verbal bridge signal down the road.
Like give me an example. What's your verbal signal that you did a good job? Say I'm a horse and I just did a good job. What would you do?
Good boy, Rick. No, a lot of times I've actually shortened it to the word okay. And I use it kind of in an abrupt fashion so that I can talk to people and go, yeah, okay, blah, blah, blah. And for them it'll be, okay. So they kind of know the curtness of the term.
It's as distinctive as that, because you've made it very specific and you saved that intonation of it just for that purpose. Okay,
exactly.
I get that.
So that I can have a conversation, and yet they can, and you could be doing, I could go, hallelujah, and they'd probably just go, okay, so you could use anything you want. People get hung up sometimes thinking the clicker is the big part of the training, and it's just a small element in a much bigger picture.
Well, you're always moving to another type of reinforcement and starting to kind of chain behaviors together too, aren't you?
Yes.
Tell me how you got to on-target training, which is what you're best known for.
I got the term because at SeaWorld, when we were working with the animals or teaching a new animal, a naive animal we called it, as we call it green in the horse world, but the first thing you did is we always call it the target training. We're going to do the target training. And we didn't use clickers there, but the whistle or the verbal, that was a give me. But the target was the part that really is the catalyst for helping to train a lot of the behaviors. So as I introduced a target, I still use a target. I use it to teach horses to load in the trailer. I teach them to touch a stationary target in their stalls. I use it for all kinds of things. So that's where I got the on-target training.
Why does the target have a positive meaning to an animal?
That's a good question, because I think sometimes when people look at the target, they go,
what's the big deal?
Yeah. Or what did you put on it to make them like it? But because horses are innately curious and they go with their nose. That's their mouth and nose go to things to smell them. The dolphins don't. No scent here. So you'd actually touch them with a target. But the horses, you just hold it out, and they will smell it, and then you click and reinforce, and then you hold it over here, and they start thinking, last time I touched it, I got, and they start associating. So everything our horses, our killer whales, our dogs, our children do is because of association. They either avoiding something they don't want or doing something that they want to get something out of. So by creating a positive association with it, they then will look for it and touch it. And it also becomes a bit of a safe place for them. Like there was one time I had my horses in a barn back east, and something fell out of the hayloft, and I had two horses that were really strong with the on-target training. Both of them, I was far away, but I could see them. Both of them ran to their stationary targets in their stalls. Like they got startled, and like that was their safe place. And I thought, well, how funny is that? But that's kind of where it gets to for them. So as you're teaching a horse to trailer load, let's say, or get over spookiness issues, and you're saying, here's the tarp, and you're just saying, just touch the target, and you see him looking at the tarp, and then you see him touch a target, and they think, I know what to do with that. Yeah. And you'll see them get bold and try to reach out and touch the target. So then you can get the rest of their body to do something worth reinforcing.
So they can focus on something that is positive and safe to them, and be a little bit distracted from this new thing.
Yes.
And suddenly they realize they're on the I didn't get eaten by this crazy thing after all. And the other comment I wanted to make that seems critical is the target itself becomes a reward rather than just sort of a symbol of something else, like a treat or whatever, right?
Yes.
So no longer do you have to rush up and give them a treat every time they touch the target. It's its own reward.
Exactly. It does become a positive thing unto itself. And I think that's a good point, because people think, well, just bait them. There's a difference between baiting them with food and saying, I'm asking you to make a mental election, a mental choice to do something. Right. And as they do that and they think, all right, what am I going to do? Okay, I'm going. When they make that choice, it's much bolder than when they're just want to get that bite,
Right. You've got a couple things you're going to demonstrate for us today.
Yes, I do.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Lucky Jack Farm, a private hunter-jumper facility in Rancho Santa Fe, California, is home base for Shawna Karrasch, a former whale trainer who now trains horses with a clicker and a target.
Okay, well, we're here in the barn, and this is Mint. His own nameplate on his stall. What is Mint going to help us with?
He's going to demonstrate stationary target. So in the back of his stall there, he has a white target target mounted on his door, and I'm going to actually ask him to go hold on his target while I open and close the door. And this is really valuable for one, stall manners. They're too assertive, they're too aggressive, or they're too in your face. Another thing is it's a great way to get Mint started and thinking. Okay, target.
Okay, he's at the target.
And he waited. Excellent. So I want him to wait while I can walk around, I can put food in his bucket, I can even have him, you know, hold on it and pick his feet or something like that. But he should target, go back to his target and hold there while activity happens around him. And you can see.
Do you say that the exact same way every time with that kind of lilting?
I think I do. You know, people ask me a lot about cues, and I tend to be verbal, tactile, visual. I like to give them all.
But you're consistent about how you say that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Isn't that right? Yes.
Yes.
Good boy. Okay, one more time. Target. See, he went to the wrong place, and he's correcting himself. Good
So
job.
he just has to stay there until you click.
Yep, the click is the release and tells him good. And another place that this is a great place to use it is for trailer loading. So as Bugs is learning how to be a good trailer loader, I want it to be all one person. So I put a stationary target in the front of the 2-horse trailer. So from the back, I can just say target, and you know, you have to remind him where it is. But then he can go and load and hold on it. I can hook up the back end, get things done, go around and reinforce him when we're all said and done. So that's another great tool.
And you've got a portable version of that target, right?
I do.
And you're going to show us how to use that.
Yes, I will.
All right, we'll lead the way.
Okay. We'll take Mint down and we'll demonstrate just some of his fun behaviors and some free jumping and all the components that go with it.
All right, I've got all my tools here. This is the official clicker, and that's what it sounds like. I've also got here ready at the side some horse treats, some kind of a extruded product. I don't know for sure what it is, but I'm sure it's very good. I'm not going to taste it. Okay, what are we going to do here?
We're going to have Mint free jump.
Okay.
So he does know it where he comes, he'll go into stay, and then I can call him over, but it's best if it's with 2 people.
Okay.
So you're going to be, we call A to B's, you're going to be my B person. Or maybe you're the A person, I'm the B person.
So do I get to click when he does something good,
yes.
or do you click? Okay.
It'll be with you.
All right.
So what I'll
Is he going to like me better for this?
He'll probably like me, yeah.
Okay.
At first he's going to like me better.
Do I get to
he
feed
knows
him
me.
too?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
He'll be totally, you'll be going back up.
Yeah.
So I will send him to you, and I'll start out a little bit closer. And as he comes to you, he knows an open hand target, so you can just call his name and say Mint. You always want to click the behavior you want to see more of. So it's ideal if the click comes as he's committing to going over the jump.
Okay, good.
So bring him around you, and this is, a lot of times I just use this hand target again, and I just ask him to come around me, so we're standing facing the jump again. As you're standing facing the jump, you can then click and reinforce him if you like. Go. Very good.
Whoa. I should have waited until he really stopped before I clicked.
It's okay. It's really fun for me to see him paying attention to others. Minty. Good boy. Can you spin? Good boy.
All right.
Another thing he knows too is he can cross his legs.
Oh, he's mimicking you.
Yes.
Is that how you teach him?
Kind of. I actually put it there and then would click it. He would think, how did she do that? Let me put it back. And can I see your leg? And can you hop? And go. Good. And go. Good. That's when the vet comes. You say he's a little off. His stay. And he knows his stay. When I first taught the stay, they would stop everything. Chewing, you know, like
freeze.
Just freeze. Like Simon said, freeze. Good boy. Smile. Good boy. Good boy. Okay, let's do our cha-cha now. And up, and back, and up, and back, and up, and back. And watch him watch my feet. Back, and up, and back. Good boy. Isn't that good?
The dancing horse.
It's just the silly things we teach him to do. And let me show you the target, too. Now, as I first was teaching him to do something like free jumping or trailer loading or even leading, I use the target and just get them to walk with it. And I would use it first. You know how he knows how to wind around you and then hoe? And see how he's standing still right there? That's a huge behavior, is just standing quietly, and you've got horses behind you guys just tearing around over there.
What have you got with the blue ball here?
Now, this is something else I've taught him to do. I'm going to set that down. I taught him to retrieve. And I like this because they can grab it and it's soft. So I've taught him, go get it. Now this is kind of new and a little bit rough. Sometimes he drops it before he gets here. Mint. Good. And so I click as he presents it to my hands, because at first he would do it and then I'd call him and he'd drop it and come over. And I've also taught him to hand it to me when I'm on his back.
Well, thank you, Minty, for a great demonstration. Thank you so much,
You
Shawna.
are very welcome. My pleasure.
This is very exciting stuff.
It really is, and it's for all the practical stuff. We demonstrate fun stuff, but anything, it really steps up their focus and their participation, which I think is great.
Well, come here, give me a big hug.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I watch my hands.
And thank you, Minty. No, you can't have those. Give me a kiss.